Hey, welcome to your Pisces horoscopes for the week of December 17th through the 23rd. And we still have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Big surprise. They do take a while. Actually, I have bumped into 2024 and Saturn is not going anywhere. Actually, as we are ending the year with Saturn being 2 degrees in Pisces, you still have another year of Saturn in Pisces. Also bumped into the next year and thought that it's possible that Neptune might actually move on into Aries, but not quite either. That's not happening in 2024 either. So things are going to be pretty much about the same in terms of the planets that are influencing Pisces currently. And that is not really going to change much. We do have Neptune in a square with the Sun and Mercury and Mars. Mercury being retrograde also at this time. And that is going to cause a little bit of an issue in terms of your long-term goals. But I feel like Neptune's influence in your inner trauma space. So it's not so much that you're getting in the way, it's your old mindset that's getting in the way. I do know a couple of Pisces actually that I've seen this happen to. One in particular, when he's on it, he's on it. He just goes in, he says, "This is what I'm going to do." And he just goes and does it. And other times it's, well, I can't because of this and I can't because of that. And, you know, here's my million different excuses why I can't do it. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the level of fear that this in particular individual is going through at the time of making these decisions. And that fear can be really strong. I mean, overpowering. And he's not the only one, actually. I've seen quite a few Pisces go through this. If it's not comfortable for them, it's almost like they go into a panic mode and refuse to leave that panic, or that panic just keeps them stationary. It keeps them right where they are and not progressing any further, if that makes sense. It's difficult, it's traumatic. It doesn't have to be the rest of your life either. Saturn, on the other hand, is in a grand sextile with the Sun and Mercury, and I do believe it's Jupiter. And this is where Mercury's retrograde's actually kind of helping you out a little bit, because Mercury is full on retrograde this week. It started the mid last week, so we are right in the thick of it. And it is moving from Capricorn to Sagittarius this week as well. So it's not all full on in one sign either. We have more than one influence with that. And I feel like this is a big deal. First of all, Saturn is pointing towards your responsibility to your trauma. I can't, and I do hear this from Pisces a lot, actually. I would make better choices if I didn't suffer all this trauma from this person when I was a child. First of all, there's a statute of limitations on what you can blame your parents for, from what I understand. Second of all, as a healer and as a mentor in that particular field, and from personal experience of going through this myself, it is your responsibility to heal your trauma, not somebody else's. In fact, you can get an apology from your abuser and it means nothing, because you're putting yourself in a mindset of not handling that responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault. I know a particular individual who is like that. And once it turns out that um, there was a particular conversation that I had with this person, actually, she's not a Pisces, but particular conversation I had, that her bad choices were because of me and what I got, or didn't get, or whatever. And in this conversation, well, I didn't get to go to school because nobody was paying for my school, but somebody paid for your school, she said. And I said, no, nobody paid. I paid for my school. And I did. I paid all of my student loans. And she says, well, I thought so-and-so paid for your school. I said, no, nobody paid for my school. I paid for my school. I went to school. I paid for it. I did everything. Okay. You can't blame that on me. You can do the same thing. Instead of realizing that this mindset was holding her back, she didn't go to school. She just went to find some other reason to blame me. And if that wasn't a good reason, she was going to find another one. This is what traumatized people do. They're not willing to help themselves. They're not willing to learn from the past, from the trauma. Healed people are. And the thing is, and this is where I've seen a lot of Pisces get hung up on this, right? Is that it is easier to blame your abusers because it gives you an excuse to just not do anything. But you're also going to stay miserable in the process, which is not a lot of fun either. So, bottom line, Saturn's placement is saying this is your responsibility to, if you want to be successful, you have to let this go. This cannot continue to have importance over your life, specifically your decision making, any longer. And we're not talking about present problems here that are preventing you from doing what you want. We're talking about past trauma that doesn't exist anymore. It happened, it may still be affecting you, but it doesn't exist anymore. There's a big difference in that there. Neptune is still in a sextile, a grand sextile actually, with Pluto and Uranus as well, at least at the beginning of the week. It does break up by the end of the week. And that is actually very helpful too, because Uranus is focused on the past while Pluto is focused on your support system. This is again putting you in a position of righting the wrongs from the past. So, and also by releasing that trauma, it's also allowing you an opportunity to see the good things in the past and not just the trauma, if that makes sense. It can be really difficult to think about happy memories in a traumatic childhood. But as you go through the healing and start peeling those layers off, you do start to remember things, then we're not quite so bad. I had a physical abuser as a child. And in going through and working and healing my trauma, the gifts that he left, which there were a few, were momentous. And if I had been so focused on the trauma, I would not have remembered those gifts. And one of them was very helpful when raising my own children, not in a abusive way, by the way. It was actually a very good idea that in terms of caretaking, when I had a broken bone, and I used that same thing that he did for me with my own child when his cast came off. So that was actually something very helpful and very brilliant that I am very grateful for. I never really would have seen it had I just been focused on all the things he did to me, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation to my coffee link, which is in the description of the video. I would really appreciate that. Also in the description of the video is another link. I have a 25% discount for all the way through December 31st. So if you want to connect with a loved one in spirit for the holiday, take a little peek at 2024. Make sure you're on the right track with the setting of your goals for 2024. Whatever that is, that's what the reading is for. Simply make a note of the promo code, click the link, place your order, put the promo code in there, get your 25% discount. It really is that simple. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys are so much more badass than you give yourselves credit for. And you got to start giving yourselves that credit. You guys make it a great week. I will see you guys next week.